Former teachers of Reddit, what was the last straw that made you quit your job? I taught a class well known for its ability to break even veteran teachers. They were rowdy and disrespectful, and some students had very low standardized test scores. Granted, the start of my year was rough. I had trouble controlling them since it was my first year. But once I found a good behavior management system, things smoothed out. I still had trouble with one particular student, but toward the end of the year she opened up to me about her cutting, her eating disorder, and how she was abused at home. All of their scores improved, their behavior improved, but it wasn't enough. The principal only chose to focus on how they were at the start of the year and berated me for having such a terrible class and that I didn't seek help from the teacher they had the year before, who nearly quit before Thanksgiving because of them, and whom all my parents had told me they disliked, so why would I seek help from her? A coworker, also a first-year teacher, was given a similarly bad class, but she had a violent student who would throw desks and chairs. The principal knew this, and still gave this first-year teacher the class, instead of the other, more experienced teacher who taught the same grade. She also did great things with her class, and at the end of the year she found out her father had cancer, and the school had fired her. They couldn't afford to increase the salary of first-year teachers going into the second year, so they fired all of us. Then, at the end of the year, the orchestra put on a concert. One of my students who was on an IEP, so she had some kind of disability, but I don't know exactly what, just that she was frequently non-communicative, disengaged, not to mention her mother was bedridden and dying, really enjoyed being in the orchestra playing the violin, even though the orchestra teacher at the beginning of the year didn't want her to join because she couldn't be trusted with an instrument. Anyway, this girl was excited for the concert. She'd come to school all dressed up, and I knew they needed to be in the gym at 1:15. So at 1:15 I'm like, okay, do you want to head down to the gym? And she doesn't say anything. Some of the other students also know she's in the orchestra and are excited to see her play, so they tell her she needs to head down there. She says the orchestra director told her she couldn't play today. I was like, WTF, so I called the head of the special ed program to ask if he knew about this, and he didn't. Together we try to figure out what happened. Basically, that morning, the orchestra director told this girl she wasn't allowed to play in the concert. We asked her why and she said because she doesn't play very well and can't read music. Dog, isn't that your job? Plus it's not the effing symphony. Are you really worried one violin is going to ruin your elementary school orchestra performance? Although the head of SPED and myself tried to get this girl to go on and play, she was already thoroughly embarrassed and humiliated and didn't want to. I filed all kinds of complaints. This was a girl of color, on free or reduced price lunch, on an IEP, and this director is going to kick her out of the end of the year orchestra concert? The school didn't care. They did nothing. I was so upset and ashamed. It's one thing to screw over your teachers, but it's despicable to not stand up for your most vulnerable students.